So it says we are live, but hold on, let me get this over. Okay, perfect. All right. Did you get the notification that we were live?
Well, you sent it to my phone, so
Huh?
um, I'm on Facebook on the computer.
Okay.
So, yep.
Good. All right, perfect. All right. So hey everybody. We don't have anybody that's hopped on yet, but I wanted to give everybody a chance to hop on. I am getting my light right because I'm in the office. Hey Dee Dee. I got my
Yeah.
friend Dee Dee on. So she is in Maryland, and
Hey,
I'm looking
Didi.
forward to her hopping on. To her being on. So we are going to use this time not just to talk about real estate and everything, but Dee Dee is a big football fan. Unfortunately, she's a Steelers fan.
Go Bucks.
For her, yeah, she loves the Steelers. But for us, we wanted to talk about just life, because in business, I think a lot of times people they forget to be people, right? So it's
Right.
like, I don't want to just hear about real estate all the time. Hey, Tosh, I don't want to just hear about loans all the time. I'm actually interviewing a doula on in March, but I was telling her, I said, listen, we know people that are having babies. These people are having babies. Why wouldn't we want to be a part of that part of their life too? Right?
Right.
Because we care about more than just what people have going on real estate and loan wise. So I
Right.
asked Jonathan to come and talk about two people that he really admired. And I wanted to know why you admired them. And I wanted to have a dialogue about it. So do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first? Because you know who my first person is. You ain't even got to ask that. I can't hear you now. I can't hear you. What happened? No. I was hearing you fine a second ago, and then something happened. No, now I can't see you.
Yeah.
Now I can
Somebody
hear
trying to
you.
call me is
Oh,
what
okay.
the problem is.
Hey,
I
Zach.
gotta remember to turn that off. But
You,
I said you go first. I already know who it is, but go ahead.
okay, it's on my screen. My friends know me best. I've known
Yeah.
Dee Dee since I was probably 14, 13 years old, and she knows that I am a Tom Brady fan.
I knew it.
Now, we are going to talk about, just when I say, let me tell you why I admire him, though. I admire him because he has reached a level of greatness that most people just don't reach. And not that I know everybody, but like I said, there's only a couple people that I've seen with that kind of level of excellence. And to be honest, I can name them on one hand, and I could be wrong, but I've seen it in Kobe Bryant. I didn't really notice it in Kobe Bryant until after his death or toward the end of his career. But Kobe Bryant is one, Muhammad Ali is one, and Tom Brady is another. But it's usually been people in sports. But it's mainly because I'm just looking at people that are finishers and that follow through. Like
Hmm.
that slack and average mentality, that greasy grace, showing up and being just enough, that just doesn't work for me. And I always look at people that show up on a high level, but consistently on a high level, right? Like not you good today and then you down next week, and then you know, I just it's but I realize that what I love is a mindset. And
Hmm.
Dee Dee was saying, after Mamba, I was sold. So let me talk about Kobe Bryant, then I'll get back to Tom Brady. But Kobe Bryant had this thing about him where somebody recently told me that I was competitive, and I couldn't believe that, because I'm. Do you think I'm competitive? You
Yes.
do.
Yeah.
Listen, but here's the thing: I don't see myself as competitive. You know why? Because when I get in the zone, I really don't see other people. What I see is a target, is a goal. And I really don't care about other people. I just, Dee Dee said you are. But here's the
You are.
thing. I'm competing with myself, right? I don't get up in the morning and say, you know what? Well, what's Lisa doing today in real estate? I want to do better than her. I don't
Right.
get up and say that, right? Like Dee Dee said, no one is gonna outperform you, right? That's what I want. When I show up, I want to be the best. Period. And I want to be around people that want to be the best. If you are okay, one coach said to me, he said, let me tell you what type of people you want to hire. He said, she said, if there's a list of the top 10 agents in the office and your name is number 2, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? I was like, I want to be number 1. Like, and then I was talking to my friend Jason, and he was like, I'm just grateful to be on the list. And I was like, yeah, that ain't me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about being on the list. I want to be like on the top of the list. Like, I'm good to be at the top 10 because I consider the top, but I'm really looking at what is it going to, in my mind, I'm processing what is it going to take for me to be number 2. And I mean, number 1, right? So my friend said to me, this Tom Brady quote, he said, the real competitors are the ones that play to win every time. And I'm saying that in those people, Muhammad Ali, Tom Brady, Kobe Bryant, they play to win every time. And it's very personal to them. And that's the kind of character that I want to have. Like when I leave this earth and I'm not here, I want people to say that that girl, she gave it everything she had. So that's why I picked those people. I wanna live full and die empty. Like I like number 2 is just not good enough for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And you know what? Just want to say shout out to all the people that's joined. Hey Marilyn, hey Tawana, Debbie,
Hey Debbie.
looks like Nakia Santos. Thank you guys for joining.
Yes.
It's funny that
Debbie said there's plenty of people that are great that are not famous. I agree. I'm
I
saying
agree.
I don't. I'm just thinking of the people that I know. I
Right.
may know them. But go ahead, Jonathan.
But so like I knew you were gonna pick Tom Brady, so I kind of left him out of there. But the two people I put down, one was Muhammad Ali.
I
Crazy
put that
thing
was
about
my second
Muhammad
one.
Ali is I never actually saw him live. You know, I was too young, so I never really got to see that. But the way he commanded a room when he walked into the room, he already knew he was better than everybody in the room, even if he wasn't. And I think
Even if he wasn't.
sometimes, yeah, and I think sometimes that's the biggest part about Muhammad Ali. Like if you look in my office, I got Jordan on the wall, I got Muhammad Ali on the wall, but I got Muhammad Ali on the wall more than anybody. And
Me too.
they're good, but it's because he also knew that what he was doing was way bigger than boxing. He just knew it was way bigger than boxing. And the way he would do certain things, the way he changed his name when nobody wanted him to, the way he went to the Nation of Islam when nobody wanted him to. I'm not saying I'm Muslim, but I'm just saying the way that he just handled himself during his lifetime. When he walked into the ring, he already knew he was beating these guys, and there wasn't a question on his mind if he was going to do it. So when the lights came on, his focus, his charm, his charisma. So I got that guy at the top of my list on people that I admire about focus. And the second people that yeah, I do sound messed up. I sound messed up in my ear too. I think she's trying to fix that. That's gotta be on her end.
I'm
Um
muted while you're talking.
okay. So hopefully I sound better now. Um I don't know. Maybe I should
She said that's better. It was me. I'm muting while you're talking.
okay, cool. So, but yeah, so Muhammad Ali was on my list, but I gotta give a shout out to my parents. As far as focus, my parents. For those who don't know, my parents are pastors and have been my entire life, pretty much. I remember just their focus on being a purposeful calling for their life, and every morning my mom woke up, every morning my dad woke up, they had a purpose on who can we reach today? Who can we touch today? That kind of focus, you know, for something like church, a lot of people won't even look at that and say, "Oh, that's a big deal." But the reason that I bring them up is because of their focus and their unwavering, relentless pursuit for hearts. And it wasn't so much like my parents aren't the type of people that walk up to you and say you're going to hell. My parents are the type of people that walk up to you and say that God loves you and do unto others as you would have them do unto you, and try to be a light in dark places, and we love you unconditionally. That's the type of things that they do. That's the type of things that they always did. I can tell you guys, for those of you who don't know me, but In my lifetime, I probably had somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 to 60 people live with me. So like a lot of people when they meet me, they're like, "Oh, that's your brother too? That's your sister too?" They're not really related. They're not really related, um, but yeah, it's just my mom and dad have to be on that list for me because, like I said, it was a just a relentless pursuit for Christ and an unwavering love for other people. So, shout out to my parents for being two of the people that I admire.
And I think it's a great thing when you have parents that you admire. I think that I'm actually going to do a live video with my mother sometime this week about just a whole thing with mothers and daughters. So I'll share that kind of separately. I'm kind of keeping that a little separate, but I think that we are called to be the heroes in our everyday lives too, with our children now, because I know your children really look up to you, especially your son. I don't know the youngest one, but I know the oldest one is now working with you. I don't think he works directly for you. I think he works for your company, but under somebody else. But I just look at, how you're grooming him and really being that light to him. So I kind of want to just say kudos, because what the influence that your parents set is actually now trickling down and impacting another generation. And that's how we kind of really leave legacies. I think for me, I chose Muhammad Ali because when I look at him, I think what I see in a lot of people, I know my mother admires him too, but I think what I see in a lot of people, they can't differentiate the now for the later, right? Like that sense of delayed gratification, right? And my one of my favorite quotes by Muhammad Ali, and those are the only three people that I have in my gym garage: Kobe Bryant, Tom Brady, and Muhammad Ali. And he said that I hated every minute of training. He said, but I said to myself, suffer now and live the rest of your life like a champion. And the Bible says that we have our cross to bear. So at some point in life, you're going to experience suffering. You just have to decide whether you're going to suffer now or suffer later, right? And I feel like suffering now gives you a greater level of control. Suffering later, I might not have no control over that. But if I can, what he said, if I can train now, then I can make myself unstoppable so that whatever I have to go through later doesn't affect me, because I'm buffering myself now through the maintenance and building of this quote unquote training. And I think that when we come into these businesses, a lot of that characteristics, like even what you said about your parents with the love, that goes so far into our business. I'm telling you, we got to pray for our clients. We got to be the light to them, even though we come into their world with the introduction of mortgages, with the introduction of real estate. It's still so much more than that.
Yeah.
So can you tell me that it's all business with you, or is it business and personal? Like how do you break down your way of kind of connecting with people, in light of these influences in your life?
I mean, when it comes to when it comes to how I approach my clients, I approach everybody the same. I had a lady the other day that got upset because she has a $1.3 million loan, and she was upset that I wasn't treating her differently, than I treated other people, and she literally told me, "You're supposed to be treating me differently." I wasn't raised like that. So I basically told her, well, ma'am, I said, I'm treating you the same way I treat somebody that's buying $100,000 house, simply because my parents never taught me to treat people differently because of status. So if that's not going to work for you, then maybe I'm not the person for you. So I was willing to walk away from a pretty large commission because I'm never going to put myself in a position to compromise my integrity as a person. And I'm definitely not going to do that ever for money. I, I I um I always tell people, when I wake up in the morning, there's a prayer my mom used to say over me. She used to say, Lord, give him the mind of Adam before it became perverted. She said it every single day. And I remember I got older, 17, 18 years old, and I was like, really, mom? Still doing this? And she was like, yep, come here. She put her hand on my head and she would go right into it. Lord, give him the mind of Adam before he became perverted. Um, and I never really understood what it meant until I got older in life, and then I understood. I started understanding that as a man, we have to control our thoughts, and not necessarily just as a man, but as people, we have to control our thoughts because our thoughts will get you messed up. They will put you in a world of hurt. So when I approach my clients, the very first thing I do is I remember that prayer. Give him a mind of Adam before it was perverted. The great thing about the thing about Adam is Adam named everything basically in the garden. So he was an intelligent individual. So I start the conversation intelligently. Um, then I try to make sure I'm putting words in a manner that they can understand. Because a lot of times I think as professionals in our respective careers, we have a tendency to talk jargon with customers and they don't know what the heck you're talking about. So to me to just go into like, oh, it's LTV and then I got to get your DTI and they're going to be looking at me like, what are you talking about? Now, and then you got two type of customers. You got the customer that says, oh, okay, and they don't know what you're talking about. And then you got the other customer that will stop you. So I try to meet them where they are and make sure I'm giving them the understanding part of it. Because they are buying a house. This isn't like, going back and packing layers and this, they really need to have some thought process on this and have an understanding of what it is that they're doing. And the third thing I do is I treat everybody the same, whether it be that's which is why a lot of people come to me for down payment assistance because I'm one of the lenders out there that will still do it, even though we don't make that much money on them because we don't make the same amount of money on down payment assistance that we do on a traditional loan. So you'll see a lot of lenders just won't do down payment assistance. Well, that's not my heart. My heart doesn't allow me to just get rid of a whole sector of people because I don't want to be, dealing with the fact that I got to do double work for less money. So I think I take all that in perspective and I use those tools that my mom gave me, my dad gave me, and I definitely use that a lot, and which is why I think I have a lot of clients that we go there. So it's not just business. We actually have deep conversations. We have conversations about their kids, and I tell them about my kids. Because to me, it's more of a relationship than it is a transaction. So, that's pretty much how I approach them all.
And adding to that, it's funny because when you think about the relationship, I think about how you and I became connected, in a sense that we were just two people building our business and we realized, okay, this is what kind of relationship looks like in terms of business professionals. So I always tell people, and I get this all the time, and they're like, oh, I'm like, I have a lender. And people say, well, can I just send you some information? You can send all you want to because I'm not going to stop you from sending, but I have a lender. Like, just send it and I'll file it somewhere, whatever. But a lot of people always say to me, well, you want to keep your options open. I'm like, well, actually, I don't, because part of being in a relationship with people is making things a priority, right? So I'm going to keep information just because to stay current on the industry,
Right.
but the relationship dictates that this is my preferred lender. Now, I'm not gonna push anything on somebody. Like if somebody comes and say I have a lender, I just always say get a second opinion. If you want somebody, I got somebody, but I'm never gonna kind of move that forward. But one of the things that I noticed, and I say this because that's an integrity thing. I say this because I see in business, and we've seen this, we've talked about this, where you have people that, they're trying to be in relationship with five different people, five different lenders, saying the same things to five different lenders. You're my preferred vendor, so let's get into a partnership and do this. But then they're not holding up their end of the bargain because they're trying to get something from one, get something from two, get something from three, get something from four. And the thing is, you don't do business like that. And I don't like that's an integrity issue, right? Because you do business with people because they do good business,
Hmm.
right? I know when I refer a client to you that you're gonna you're going to give them the best service, right? I know that you're going to go out of your way to be a resource to them. And I'm like, at the end of the day, I've worked with a lot of lenders, they're good lenders, but nobody really goes out of their way to be a resource to people, right? Even with the down payment assistance, the fact that you probably are the only lender that I know that does that. And I'm like, why don't other lenders do that? And they're like, because I don't make any money. And I'm like, yeah, so that's a problem for me because you're gonna have to give something, right? When I say give something, not to me, but just to the community. Like you're pulling from it when you get the high transactions. You okay? We can celebrate $1 million transaction, but what about the mother that's approved for 120,000? Why we can't help her become a home ownership too? Because I mean, a homeowner too, because home ownership may be the thing that changes her life. That house could be the very thing that in 2 3 years she gets $60,000 worth of equity and she used that money to start her business. Like why we can't think like that? And I'm like, at the end of the day, when I look at the industry, I only want to partner with people that have integrity. I only
Hmm.
want to do business with people that mean what they say and say what they mean. I don't expect perfection. I just expect integrity. So integrity and I feel like we've been able to establish that and that's why we work so well together. But that
Yeah.
comes from us having a deeper connection to God and knowing that it's bigger than real estate, it's bigger than just loaning, but all of that ties back into a mindset of wanting to be the best, right? Why do I want to
It
be the
does.
best? Because I know that my being the best showcases God's best. Because there are people out here that they may be the best or better, should I say, in terms of numbers. So they may close more deals, write more contracts, close more loans, etc. But that doesn't mean they're better people, right? That doesn't mean that they're good people. And that's the part that I struggle with, and I see it every day because when I come into a relationship with people and they tell me the horror stories like about real estate agents, and I'm like, really? Like I mean, I'm baffled because I'm like, I that just doesn't make sense to me. So it's like you said, it's showing up every day, knowing that we have people's lives in our hands, even though it just seems like it's just a transaction. To some of these people, I told somebody the other day, I said, I feel like I'm a real estate pastor because literally when people get frustrated, I'm like, let's pray. Like, because
Yeah.
this is an emotional process, especially when dealing with the things that you said, like the loan to value and stuff like that. When they get some of these news, they're shattered, and that's why Rosalind's transaction was so awesome to me. The fact that when she cried in tears, I knew that that was real, right? Because I was with her when she first got the no. And it was just
Yeah.
like, I can't do this. I'm like, nope, you gotta do this. Like you can do this. And we're gonna help you do this and we're gonna be here with you. But I appreciate that level of integrity. And the reason why I wanted to talk about people we admire, because I feel like if we know that there's people that we admire, then we also work to become people that people can admire,
That's right.
right? Like that's my main thing. Like I want to be the kind of person that I want people to look at me and see what's behind me, like the God behind me, not necessarily me, but the fact that they wouldn't have done that if they didn't know God. Like some
That's right.
transactions, I know that we both given up a lot. Some people ain't giving up no transaction. They'd be like, "Oh, you better cancel that closing."
Yeah. Exactly.
What's so 2021 underway? What can we expect from you next? Like I know you got your closing company, so I want you to talk a little bit about that.
That's actually my wife's. She
Okay.
does closing gifts basically,
Awesome.
and stuff like she does stuff like this.
Let me see.
So these cutting boards,
Those are
they
nice.
yeah, and
And
and I'm just waiting on the first person to actually cut something on them. Everybody
well,
that she sends them to,
well,
I think
yeah.
I sound like a robot again.
Oh, I'm muted. Go ahead.
Okay. I think I'm just waiting on somebody to cut something on one of her boards. Everybody that she sells them to, they get them and they're like, oh, these are too pretty, and they put it on the wall. And I'm like, it's a cutting board. People cut, you know. But Yeah, she's doing really good with that. She started it. She's got a laser. She puts it on the cups, on cutting boards, on butcher block. She's got some other stuff. I'll show you guys.
And you can't cut on that board. You buy a little cheap cutting board to cut on. That's a display board.
No, her stuff ain't cheap. So
No,
it's
I
a
said when you cut on something, you buy a little cheap cutting board. That what you have is a display board. That's for display.
I don't know what you call this thing, but it's got all kind of cheeses on it.
Oh, a charcuterie board.
I don't know. This her stuff, so I'm just grabbing it. But I'm really proud of her though. She took it and she's running with it and she's doing really well.
I
So
love your wife. Let me tell you what I told Carrie this weekend. What I really love about you and Viv is how long you guys been together?
26 years.
Okay, I thought it was 24. I said, and they
24 years
still,
married.
okay. I said, and they still have fun together. Like,
Yeah.
they're not like, okay, we in this place and we just, y'all still have fun together. And I appreciate that. I'm telling you, it's something about being in relationship with people that love their spouses, right?
Yeah.
Because not that just have spouses, but that actually love and have fun with their spouses. Is something about that piece that is that to me that's a character and integrity thing,
Hmm.
right? Because you know that if they can be faithful to this person, that they can be faithful to other people as well. So we appreciate that about you. And we still on for Saturday. Carrie's making collard greens.
Oh, I heard they famous.
And I'm making some keto stuff. Viv said it's okay. She told me I was all good. But it's okay. We'll work it out. But thank you for
Yeah.
hopping on. So what I was thinking about, we could kind of just maybe look into some community groups and invite like a couple people on to really be a part of this with us. Like I really think that I want to know what's going on in the community. So when I interview this doula, she got this thing so good about how she want to be a part of not just your birth but your life. Like
Hmm.
she want to be the doula for when your kids have kids, and just talking to her, I was like, man, this is so good. Like I can't wait to really get into that. But I want you to think about somebody that we can interview that has a business in our community that we can help kind of get
Highlight.
some information on their business. I don't really have anybody other than her, and I already have her schedule. But anybody new that you have.
Okay.
So we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. I'm just gonna ditch Clubhouse. I can't. Like I don't know. I'll try it. It was good for a minute, and then I'm kind of like over it already.
It's too much for me.
Yeah, it's just too
I don't know if
much.
I'll get into it.
Yeah, me either. I can't. But I appreciate you, and we're looking forward to seeing you Saturday.
Yep, we'll be there.
Thanks for hopping on, Dee Dee and Marilyn. I mean Marianne. And we'll talk to you guys next week. Jonathan, thank you, and we'll
See
chat
ya.
soon. All right, bye-bye.